Imagine waking up millions of miles from Earth, entirely alone, with no memory of who you are or why you're in a room filled with advanced medical equipment. That is the situation middle school science teacher Ryland Grace, played by Ryan Gosling, faces the moment he opens his eyes. As his memories slowly return, the stakes become clear. He is the last survivor of a mission to save a dying star. A mysterious substance is draining the sun's energy, and if Grace can't find a way to stop it, life on Earth will end within a generation. To explain how a school teacher ended up on a solo flight to another star system, the movie moves back and forth between two timelines: his life-or-death struggle in the present and the memories of his preparation back on Earth. This dual timeline structure is a massive cinematic risk. Usually, when a movie cuts away from a high-stakes space mission to show people talking in a boardroom, audience engagement starts plummeting. The past often feels like a hurdle you have to clear just to get back to the real story. When these two halves aren't perfectly balanced, the narrative momentum dies. You lose your emotional connection to the protagonist's survival because the constant interruptions keep pulling you out of the moment. Phil Lord and Christopher Miller manage this rhythm so effectively that the transition between Earth and space feels seamless. By maintaining this balance, the film achieves a level of scale and emotional weight comparable to Interstellar. Successfully executing this complex narrative structure is what makes the film an A-plus masterpiece, proving that even the most familiar sci-fi tropes can be revitalized with the right craftsmanship. The film avoids flashback fatigue by treating the past like a thriller. Every time the story returns to Earth, scenes end on sharp cliffhangers. This unresolved tension pulls you through the story, wanting to see how he navigated the obstacles standing in his way. These scenes don't just provide logistical background on the mission. Instead, they slowly reveal a darker reality about what was actually required to get the Project Hail Mary off the ground. While the present-day Grace fights to survive in space, the flashbacks force him to confront his own lack of bravery, creating a psychological conflict that mirrors his physical one. Ultimately, the timeline on Earth works because it functions as an emotional autopsy of the hero, rather than a collection of dry facts. The present-day narrative is equally gripping, focusing on the brutal physicality of living in zero gravity. We see Grace constantly being tossed through tight corridors and bouncing off the walls of his ship. Directors Phil Lord and Christopher Miller utilized notoriously difficult shooting conditions to ensure every movement on screen looked exhausting and authentic. The ship itself feels handcrafted and grounded. It isn't a sleek, futuristic cruiser. It's a series of tight, functional modules where every mistake feels like it could be fatal. This tactile atmosphere was captured by cinematographer Greg Fraser, giving the film a visual weight that makes the vastness of space feel immediate and dangerous. By making the ship feel like a real, physical place, the film forces you to accept the massive, fantastical stakes as a tangible reality. Ryan Gosling provides the bridge between these two worlds, with a performance that balances his natural charisma with moments of genuine existential terror. On Earth, the mission is anchored by Sandra Hüller, who plays the woman responsible for orchestrating the global response to the sun's decay. Hüller's performance reveals the crushing pressure of her role through subtle subtext, showing the human cost of making life-or-death decisions for the entire planet. In space, the film introduces a heartwarming and often funny friendship with an alien named Rocky, providing the emotional levity the story needs. Without these deeply personal, character-driven relationships, the massive scientific concepts would feel cold and detached. Knowing the dark truths that Grace eventually remembers changes the context of every conversation he has on a second viewing. Standard thrillers often lose their appeal once you know the ending, as the tension was built on simple curiosity. Because this story is built on character deconstruction, subsequent viewings offer a more profound experience as you watch Grace grapple with the person he used to be. Project Hail Mary represents a major risk, an original, big-budget sci-fi film in a market dominated by established franchises. The visual scale and the carefully tuned pacing were designed specifically for the theater, where the environment demands your full attention. Watching this on the big screen is a vote for the kind of high-quality, original storytelling that the film industry needs to survive. By navigating the most difficult traps in sci-fi storytelling, the film serves as a brilliant reminder of why the theatrical experience remains vital.